can't believe we made it this far.
I don't
Goodness.
even. I'm
Woo!
not comprehending that the year has changed yet, to be honest.
It was literally just 2025. It's insane. I don't understand. Well, I'm excited for 2026. Hence 75 Her. Thank you all for joining. Put it, oh snap, we got hella people coming in. Okay. Put it in the chat. Where are we all coming in from? I am in Durham, North Carolina. I just got back from being home. I was in Miami for New Year. I'm Haitian, so it's a really big deal with Haitians. You know, Haitian independence. Had a lot of soup, had a lot of liquor. You know, I don't know if we can talk about that here, but anyway, I had
I'll edit it out.
It was a good time. It was a good time. Oh, okay. We in Minneapolis. Oh, Las Vegas. CES. Okay.
Yes, Marlene is out here.
Good.
She's
DMV.
here. I got to see her yesterday.
Nice.
Yes, Philly. Hey, Philly. I miss Philly.
Y'all out here. DMV. Bree. Oh, snap. Not one of my clients pulling up on me.
Is that Janelle? Hi, Janelle. Hi, Avery.
Seattle. I'm seeing a lot of names I recognize. We got some of our data camp people too, which I'm here for. I hope y'all was doing it. Oh, Avery. Dang, no, a long time no
see.
Hey,
buddy.
Avery.
Wow. Hey, buddy.
Damn, the OGs and newbies out here at CreateHER Fest. We love to see it. We love to see it. Thank y'all for joining. Really, really excited about 75 Her and everything that we got going on for the next 75 days. I want to say, you know, before we even get started, just showing up today. Let me give y'all some round of applause. Give round of applause for yourselves as well, honestly, for showing up today, for showing up for yourselves, for showing up for each other. I know these next 75 days are going to be amazing. We'll get into like, you know, the nitty gritty of what it's going to look like. But honestly, at the end of these 75 days, I'm so excited to see where we all end up, how we all grow, the technologies that we end up using, things that we end up building and showcasing. It's going to be a good time. Awesome. All right. Shout out to the CES baddies. Let's just see it. All right. So I'm thinking to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to, first of all, share my screen and we'll keep it pushing.
Just jump right in. Ooh.
We'll jump right in. All right. Give me some thumbs up if you see my screen. Excellent. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up. Great. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for participating and signing up for the 75 Her challenge. I want to say this was honestly such a cool idea that was brought about honestly because of the creativity of ourselves and our volunteers. Shout out to our volunteers. We love y'all real bad. We go together real bad. And so 75 Her, if you're familiar with the 75 Hard challenge, you know what it is. If you're not familiar with it, essentially it's 75 days to commit to changing, to commit to transformation. And so we're really excited to bring that same energy into the tech industry. Many of us identify as women, but we're experiencing, you know, tech is getting a little weird out here. It's growing a lot, but we're also seeing a lot of layoffs as well. And so we wanted to create an environment where you didn't have to feel like you had to be an expert to get access to a lot of this education around this emerging technology. There is a lot of opportunity with these technologies. And so we're focusing on 3 that we felt were very paramount right now in these recent years. And so we're focusing on AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning, blockchain technology, and augmented and virtual reality. And so these are going to be the emerging technologies that we focus on. And one thing that we definitely want to stress is the fact that you do not have to be a developer to participate in our programming. That is not why we're here. Great if you are, I'd love to see it. I am one. But that's not the point. The point is that regardless of what aspect of any industry that you are a part of, a lot of these technologies are going to have their place in that. And so if you're a product designer, if you're a business owner or entrepreneur, if you're a data analyst, regardless of whatever role that you consider yourself as, if you just consider yourself as to be a general creative, there are a lot of avenues for you to participate and utilize this technology. So that's what we hope that you gain from this experience, if nothing else. So getting into it, we should definitely introduce ourselves. And so if you're not familiar with us, if you are, regardless, my name is Darlise Calix. I am a software engineer, but I'm also co-founder and technical director of CreateHER Fest. I've been a developer for years now. I don't want to say how many, it makes me feel older, but I've been a developer for some time now, but I would also just consider myself to be a serial technologist. And so I love to dabble in a lot of different technologies apart from just regular web development, but also mobile development, AI development, AR, VR, gaming as well. Sometimes if you see me on Discord, you're like, oh, Darlise has been playing this game for the last couple of hours. Not too much on me, but you know,
days.
You know,
4 days.
Just, hey, sometimes you got to get that gaming in. I like to game while I work, no Tito shade on me. But that's a little bit about me. On the maybe technical side, I love to travel. I love to eat. I'm a huge foodie. So, you can catch me with a reservation on, honestly, almost any day of the week, to be honest. I eat out a lot. Try not to do that too much this year. Gotta scale back, we gotta learn the budget, but we're gonna figure that out. We're gonna see if we can find a happy balance this year. And this has been the last year, has been the first year that I've probably stayed a bit more in the country. Before I was digital nomading, but now I think I'll probably stay my butt here for once and see what that feels like. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'll pass it on to my co-founder, Adrienne.
Wow, Darlise staying in America all year. I don't know, but I get to meet that version of you. All right. My name's Adrienne Guy. I'm a computer engineer. I'm very much a techie. I live hard, die hard. I'm a purist in that aspect. I have accepted that I'm old now. So yes, I've been doing this for about 8 years. I graduated from college with a computer engineering degree 8 years ago. I'm 30. I just had to get over it and say it out loud. But no, my heart is really here in building and problem solving. To be honest, it's more of a thing that I got into very early in life. I love working with my hands. Everything I have to do, I have to touch it and feel it. And technology was just one of those levers where I realized that expertise and specialization with demand equals value. And I learned that really early, doing like a lot of electronic repair in high school. And then I kind of just have been sold out ever since. Yeah, I'm really passionate about this initiative in particular with 75Her. I know when we were thinking about what we wanted to do for our theme this year, shout out to anyone who actually did our International Women's Day hackathon last year. But I know we wanted to change the theme every single year, and I'm not sure if we're going to commit to that, because when I was thinking through this aspect in particular, really, like I said, I solve and I build for the things that I struggle with myself, to be honest. And I know that building systems around, wherever the obstacles are in my life, whatever things that I struggle with, is very much a thing. And when I thought about 75 Hard, which was something that I have so much admiration for myself and then for my peers and my colleagues that do, that type of commitment to themselves, I thought about, what would it look like if we got our community to do that for themselves, but specific to their skill set and to, the technology they want to use and to the solution that they want to step up and be. So that's kind of where this came from. It very much is a heart space. And I would say outside of this, I feel like very much this space is so much a part of who I am. Like right now, I'm coming to you guys live from the show floor at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. And this is the 8th year that I've been. So yeah, I used to come to just play with the toys, and now we're here as a result of our community and Darlise and myself being honored as, most unstoppable women in Web3 and AI, which is pretty crazy. And we have a lot in store with just sharing with you guys what this journey is going to be like. We're really, really appreciative that you guys want to join us on it. So this is day one, and we're glad that you're here with us.
Awesome. That's so exciting, honestly. And let it be known, Adrienne stay at a conference, to be honest. And I don't know how
I
she
love
does
it here.
I'm
I love it.
tired in advance for you, but we love to see it. We love to see the creator. Honestly, just yeah, being in these spaces, especially like last year. And if many of you paid attention to our 2025 wraps, that last email that we sent last week, and honestly seeing everything that we were able to do and accomplish in the places that we've been, like it's amazing and beautiful to see. And we honestly want to keep that going and bring you all along with us. And so continuing to create opportunities for us to bring other creators to events like that. We also, host a lot of in-person events as well, but also at the end of the day, this is a very, very global community. And so at the end of the day, I think where our heart really lies is continuing to create opportunities for you to just learn, for you to play, for you to ideate, for you to network, for you to meet other people. The people that you're seeing in this room right now, this virtual room right now, could be your CCO, your co-founder. If you want to go the entrepreneurial route, it could be the person that lands you your next role. Like, oh, that's a person that I met, along my journey. Let me hit you up, girl, because I'm trying to get this role. Let me, tell me what's tea, what's shade about the company for real. Really wanting to.
It also could be your friend. Like,
also could
I
be
know
your friend.
Everyone doesn't have technical friends, to be honest. I know for myself, like I have a lot of day ones in my life, and I feel very, very fortunate to have so many women and men in my life that have been in my life for decades long friendships, 20-year-long friendships. But the majority of my friends that I had when I was in high school or in middle school, they're not really into what I'm into. They're not into the space. They're not into the technology thing. They kind of, let that be my wheelhouse. But I also feel like community building in this aspect is a way that you can create more longevity for the industry, because it makes a difference when you actually have someone else to talk to about the obstacles that you have in a career, or about even an idea that you want to build upon. Just having someone else who cares and who will do that deep dive with you. Like, I know one of the most influential relationships the last few years in my life has been my co-founder. The fact that like she's someone that I can hit Darlene up and be like, yo, that's what all last year was. Just hitting her up and be like, yo, I got an idea. And then all of this is honestly everything we've built for the last year is what has come out of it. And that's really what it means when you can have that kind of community, but that they understand and they get you and you're passionate about this space. And we really want to help create experiences, so many more experiences for you guys, like conferences or like, actual team building, community building in this way, where you start to feel that connection and that passion about building and being here and just wanting to be around the techies as well. So.
Love to see it. So what is CreateHER Fest? Like I said, some of you all are probably familiar with who we are. Some of you may not be. And so CreateHER Fest, I would say we envision a world where women's leadership defines the future of technology, advancing innovation, shaping inclusive design, and driving ethical impact. So we want women in the room, essentially point blank simple, not only in the room, but speaking in the room, having ownership and leadership within the room. And so our mission is to bridge that gender gap in tech by developing you all, the future change makers. So training builders across tech, storytelling, and immersive experiences to turn ideas into real world impact. And that's why we kind of take a multi-phase approach. If you're not familiar with CreateHER Fest, the last one that we did, we also broke it down into a sort of like 3-phase. And so you're learning, you're ideating, and then you're building. So after you learn, how do you create an idea, taking what you've learned and really think about how to solve a problem that you face personally, a problem within your community, or a problem that you've seen, throughout your life or throughout while you're traversing throughout the world. And then after you think about the idea, how do you build a team, or how do you create that idea? How do you birth it, essentially? And it's weird or maybe interesting, I think, in my opinion, to think about birthing an idea. But honestly, when you take it that personally, in my opinion, it is that personal. Creating a solution that can help other people as well, apart from just you. And sometimes that's okay if it's just you. I build stuff all the time that just benefits me, and I just needed something to make it easier, and it kind of helps me solidify the things that I'm learning. And that's 100% a benefit in and of itself. So getting into why 75 Her matters, why we even did this. So honestly, I'm a numbers girly. And so when I was looking at the numbers, I'm looking at the data, I'm like, dang, this is kind of sad. Honestly, we're looking at a huge unemployment rate amongst women, amongst Black women, especially. We're seeing a mass exodus from the tech industry, from a lot of major industries, from women. And one thing I always say in these kind of events is that it's never a lack of capability, it's almost always a lack of accessibility. And so it's never the fact that women don't want to learn about AI, women don't want to learn about AR, VR, women don't want to learn about blockchain. It's a matter of access. Like if you even get access to even know about the opportunities. There have been roles that I heard about that I just never knew even existed. Late last year, I found out about the concept of a data artist. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. You know, like the fact that I didn't even know I could visualize myself as something that honestly is a very cool role. That's something that I'm kind of gearing towards at this stage of my life. Didn't know that was a thing, but it was the fact that I had access to spaces where I could even come across that kind of title and see the work that people are coming up with and see that convergence of technology and art. And so that's why 75her, in my opinion, at least for me, exists. The fact that we can create a space where not only you can have access, but also have that visibility as well. One thing that I know many of us struggle with is kind of talking up yourself. Being on LinkedIn can feel a little bit cringy at times. I know I have a hard time talking about myself and things that I'm doing. Oh, I built this, and I feel like I'm just like, please hire me, or please think that what I built was super cool and interesting. It's like this weird, I don't know, humiliation ritual or or something. But what I would love for all of us to get into the habit of is, one, do it anyway. If you have to do it anxious, do it anyway. You have to do it scared, do it anyway. If you have to do it feeling a little cringe, do it anyway, because there are other people who don't think twice about talking about themselves in that way. And these are the people, you know, a lot of times getting the opportunity, or at minimum getting the visibility around some really cool stuff that they are doing. And your ideas and the stuff that you're learning and the things that you're building and the things that you're participating and the certifications that you're getting, those are always worth at least, what's the word, celebrating. I would say celebrate. Don't let the celebration die within your heart. Like, you deserve that celebration as well. So I would say that's one point. Even if it's a small thing.
I know that's the hardest thing for me. And please don't get us twisted. Like, we're sharing these things with you because there are so many mentors in our lives that they've had to tell us these same things. They've had to like encourage us to apply for the job or to not talk ourselves out of things as well. And us actively choosing to make different choices and to create different patterns is also us building this and sharing it with you. And I know for myself, one of the hardest things to do feels like celebrating the small win, because it's just like, okay, you got this one little piece done, but there still feels like there's a mountain in front of you. You don't know how to move it until you blink, and it's the mountain behind you, and you're looking at a new one in front of you still. But however, celebrating those small wins, it does something for your nervous system, your like central nervous system, to kind of like at least placate and treat yourself a little bit better. Because to be honest, this is not easy. Nothing that we're going to put in front of you guys is going to be something that we would ever qualify as easy. However, it's worth it. And you learning these skills, you are worth it. So consider it from that lens, but celebrate all the small wins.
Absolutely. So that brings us to the 75her Tech Challenge. Essentially the world's first 75 hard for women, and I would say allies. You don't necessarily have to be a woman to participate or identify as a woman to participate in this challenge. I would say that a lot of the solutions that we push you all to build for, or kind of orient your mind around, are solutions that would benefit women. And not necessarily, they don't have to benefit only women necessarily. And so for this tech challenge, 75 days of intensive learning, ideating, and building with emerging technology, which will culminate in our International Women's Day Hackathon. Now, one question that we do get is, okay, do I have to participate in all 3 phases. And so right now we have our Learnathon, which will go from January 6th to February 9th. We have our, let me go to the next one, February, our Ideathon, which will go from February 9th to February around 15th or 16th. And then we have our Hackathon, which will go from February 15th to about March, I would say March 7th, because March 8th is International Women's Day, and that's our demo day. And so with these 3 phases, I would say you don't necessarily have to participate in order to get, I think, what you're looking for out of this opportunity. But I would say that it would benefit you to participate in all 3 phases. And so going back to what each phase is, so our Learnathon, you're building a strong foundation with expert-led workshops. You're getting hands-on tutorials, you're getting peer learning opportunities. This is kind of like you're in grind mode right now. I'm in learn mode. I need to get as much information as possible. But what we wanted to avoid is kind of throwing a whole bunch of information at you and not doing anything with that information. And so each workshop was specifically selected to ensure that you are walking away with something. And so that may be a code repo, that may be a template, that may be, a framework to think about, okay, this is how I want to build, this is how I want to go about prompting, this is how I want to create an immersive experience. Like, you're walking away with something every single time. Our Ideathon, this is where now that you've learned, now that you've taken these workshops, and during those workshops, during the Learnathon as well, I will also say we also will host like sort of office hours as well. So if you're like working through something, you learn something during a workshop, it's like, I want to keep going over this, we're oftentimes going to be in our Discord, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I do hope that you all have joined our Discord by now. If not, one of our volunteers will drop that link in the chat. I highly, highly recommend it. It will be, I think, paramount to the success, to your success in this journey. But we will host sort of like office hours for you to not only, maybe work with us, but also some of our workshop facilitators have agreed to also kind of come in and offer guidance and explain things further. They can only do so much in 60 to 90 minutes. And so if there are additional questions, or maybe, it inspired something that you want to go on and build, they're a great resource to kind of go back and be like, okay, this is what I have. I kind of need some additional help, which brings us to our Ideathon. Now that you've learned, you've participated in these workshops, now we want to go through, okay, what does it look like to identify a real world problem and create a real world solution? And so at this point, you're not quite building yet. We want to get your mind around like, what is your MVP? What is it? What are you actually looking to build? What are the deep concepts? And how do you refine that solution? And so this is going to be a great phase to participate in and communicate with some of our mentors as well. And these are going to be industry experts who can talk about feasibility, like given the constraint of the time, and what or what your team is looking like, what is it actually going to look like to create this product? And so the Ideathon is going to be a great time to actually form teams if you are participating in the hackathon. We'll have a lot of team building sessions, networking sessions, and points where you can meet other people. A lot of these people are going to be in the chat right now, but you'll have a lot of opportunity to meet other people and kind of see like, okay, I'm a developer. I don't know how to design, or not even that I don't know how to, it's just not my purview, And so I want to like get with someone who's really great on design, who really wants to explore design. I want to also bring someone along who is really great on the business development side, because I don't really know what it means to talk about like market research and all of this stuff. Like, I don't know, I just want to build a thing. Or I need a storyteller. I need someone who's going to go out on demo day and pitch the heck out of what we're doing and give a great story and really bring the narrative around this product. And you think that you have to be technical, you have to be more hands-on to be a really big contributor in a hackathon team. And I promise you, I've been a part of a lot of hackathons. I promise you, so many devs do not want to do that part. We do not want to make the pitch deck. We do not want to go up there and present. We built the thing. I do not want to go up there and talk. You can be that person who's just really great at yapping. If you're a yapper, I promise you, there is a place for you. I promise you. And so I would say that would be the point of the hackathon. of the ideathon. Going into the hackathon, this is where you're in build mode, okay? You're entering into this intensive build phase to transform this idea that you've created either by yourself or with your team into a tangible prototype to prepare for demo day. We did this multi-phase approach because we didn't want you to just learn a thing. We didn't want you to be tutorial hell. We didn't want you to, just be like, okay, great, I learned this concept or I got this certificate, XYZ, now what? We're providing the what, right? And it does kind of rely on you to kind of take that chance on yourself to be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a part of building this. And so from February 15th to March 7th, you and your team are deep in build mode. Now, we kind of stretch this out because we understand, like, honestly, we're human beings. We do not expect you to take your whole weekend, to hammer out something, especially, given a lot of this information may be new, a lot of the technology that you're learning may be new, you're wanting to like test and fiddle. And so we want to give you the time to really actually test and fiddle and get familiar with a lot of this technology. And so that's why we've kind of broken it down in this timeline of 75 days to give you a lot more time to be hands-on with it. And then demo day, March 8th, being International Women's Day, we thought it was a very fitting day for us to sort of end on. I would say it's like our end, but we have obviously the rest of the month and the rest of the 75 days. But March 8th being our demo day, this will be the day where you sign up for a slot, you or your team sign up for your time slot to present in front of our judges. And you'll take 3 to 5 minutes to present on your demo. And your demo will be a full code repo along with like an actual working prototype. At the end of that, you've built something. You are a part of building an actual product. I don't want you to call it just like a project. It wasn't homework. I'm not calling it your capstone. This is not what we're doing. You built a product. And so what do you do after a product launch? You market the heck out of that product. And so after March 8th, we're going into the builder parade. So on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on X, on Threads, on Substack, you are telling people, no, listen, my team and I, we built this. Here's our demo video, check it out. And because of our relationship with our partners and our workshop facilitators and our mentors, they're all also a part of this builder parade as well, kind of cheering you on, but also during this time, they're judging. So if you participated in the hackathon, you've submitted this project on our platform, which will be DevPost. From March 8th to about March 13th. March 13th, they'll be judging these projects to see, okay, was it feasible? Was the design accessible? Was it impactful? We'll have a whole judging criteria and rubric that they'll have to go down to see how you did. And then on March 14th will be the day when our winners are announced. So we'll have winners, and then we'll also have winners in terms of like popular choice. And so your friends, your families, your mentors, your colleagues, your coworkers, your peers, any students. These are also going to be people who are able to see the work that you've been able to do as well, which I think, honestly, at the end of the day, like, who would not want to share? I think we're all wanting to share the things that we're accomplishing, and we want you to get used to saying, I did this. Not that I tried this, because we're not trying no more. You did it. You did Learnathon, you did the Ideathon, you did the Hackathon, you built that product. All right. And so I would say that is our 3-phase journey. I'll pause here because I feel like I've been chatting a little bit. I will pause here in case there are any questions in the chat before we get into what our next steps looking like. And then we also have our keynote that will be coming up in a bit.
Feel free to throw any questions that you have in there too. Yes, Marlena, we are all super excited. And yes, the Build Her parade, heavy on the her. So excited to be part of the space. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Nia.
Excellent. All right. No questions so far. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat. We'll answer them live. If you have them, no worries. If you want to drop them in the Discord later, that also works now. But I'm super happy to answer any questions right now as well. But if not,
another thing I'll say, I'll add in here, if you are getting our emails, make sure you add us as a contact, because I don't know, email can be a little weird sometimes. And we're going to be sending you updates, periodic heads up. If we add things, because we're still going to be adding workshops to our schedule as the weeks go on, you'll want to make sure you're not missing any of our notifications. You'll see some redundancy in the Discord too. But yeah, we have a lot of really solid information and resources that we share via email. So if you have Gmail, if you have Outlook, whatever the case may be, make sure you add CreateHER Fest as a contact. And then you won't miss anything from us.
Awesome.
If anyone wants to come off mic too, if you guys want to jump in and speak and ask your question directly, that's fine as well.
I'll give it about
yes,
30
no,
seconds.
maybe so.
Yeah, you can raise your hand.
Hey.
This is Faith Butler. Sorry, I didn't raise my
Hi,
hand.
Faith.
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate you guys hosting the CreateHER Fest. I think that's really awesome. It's my first time joining you guys. So I'm very excited to, embark on this with everybody else and learn along some, amazing minds. I did have a question while you were going over kind of the phases for the CreateHER Fest. As far as the hackathon, is there ever a situation where someone wants to participate in the hackathon, but is not able to find a team or find a good fit for them in a team?
Yeah, there are definitely situations that we've come across where that has happened. And so what we'll typically do, we ask that you let us know early. If you're looking for a team, it's maybe, a couple days in and you're like, I'm not getting any traction. Let us know, because then we can go ahead and find a team who may be looking, who may not necessarily be looking in Discord, or they're not paying attention to their Discord notifications, because then we can send like email notifications out, or ping any teams individually who I know who may be looking for your particular skill set, that we can link you in.
Yeah, and we also have considered that from a number of directions. So one, if you have people in your community, or if you have friends, people who you will want to build with, you're able to invite them to come build with you too. So you can still register. If you have anyone who you say, hey, like if you have that person, like your person, like I can hit up Darlie's and be like, I want to do a thing. Like, you have your people, you can bring them along with you. Two, we also share in our Discord, realistically, like if people have ideas and they're looking for team members, if someone has a concept they want to build out, but they want to know who would want to do it too, you'll have opportunities, multiple opportunities to communicate that. And the third aspect is team building. It kind of starts now, to be honest. Like the way that we have all of the calendar for the next 75 days set out for you is you're going to have some networking events in there virtually. You're going to have some, jam sessions. We're always accessible in the Discord. Sometimes we'll do office hours. Sometimes we'll just like throw a message in there and say, hey, I'm going to be working on, a concept. I have to build something really quick. But if anyone wants to co-work together, you guys can jump in there with us in a voice channel. You're going to have a number of opportunities. Just get to know other people in the community, to get an idea what they're interested in, to see if you guys have similarities. And then that's how we really want you to find your partners or your teammates, because the purpose of this is to actually have connections, to have relationships when you leave. By doing events like this, environments like this is how I met all of my friends that actually build actively with me. So that's kind of what we want you to walk away with too, where it's like, we're not going to be doing workshops every single day after the first quarter, but we're still going to have a lot of content for you guys. We're still going to have workshops that you'll be able to see maybe a couple times a week. You'll have opportunities to join us for some events, for some conferences that we partner with. Stay tuned. We have actually something coming up potentially next month. But yeah, so we kind of want you guys to stay connected. And that's also why we're doing this in a very close-knit way, because whether or not you build together, we want you to know who you're surrounded by and where the opportunities are to collaborate.
Yeah. Let us know if that answered your question, Faith.
No, that definitely did. Thank you. Yeah, I know I was thinking that maybe it might, happen here and there where maybe someone wants to join last minute, or they're just not able to find something that aligns with what they were doing or what they want to do, or role that they want to do. So it's great to hear that there will be plenty of opportunities for us to work with each other and start that team building earlier on, so it'd be a better chance of everybody being on team. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. All right. So getting into next steps, I'll take like maybe 4 minutes to talk about next steps before we get into our keynote. But next steps being one, like I said, join the Discord. This is going to be the place where a lot of our communication is going to happen. It's going to be the place where a lot of mentorship, kind of like one-offs, may happen as well. But this will also be the sort of community hub as well. So a lot of the people that you're seeing in the chat today are also going to be in the Discord. And so if you're like, man, I'm really feeling your vibe, like I really feel like, we should build something together. Or I really feel like, we should talk. I really like the stuff that you're building. I really love your hobbies, anything. This will be the place to do that. A lot of our announcements typically go there first and then email. So I would definitely say if you want the more real-time notifications on a lot of what we're doing, any reminders, especially as we get later on in the phases in regards to deadlines, this will also be the place, as well as the place to seek help. And so myself and Adrienne are almost always going to be in the Discord, but we also have our volunteers in the Discord as well. And so there will almost always, unless it's like a really random time that we don't have any support for, but we will almost always be able to get back to you within like, maybe at most a couple of hours. And so getting the Discord app, I recommend getting the actual application, like actually downloading it to get the notifications. But if you don't download it, that's okay. You can use the web version. I would just say make sure you at least pin it or bookmark it so it's easy to come back to. Once you accept that invite, you'll introduce yourself in the introductions channel, and you'll also verify yourself in the verification channel. The verification channel just helps make sure our Discord is safe and that we're not letting in any bots. After that, once you've done that, you're going to start your 75HER quest, and that'll be in the 75HER quest channel. The quests currently out right now are like introducing yourself, social amplification, so post about the fact that, yeah, you joined, 75HER and CreateHER Fest as well, while also setting your goal for 75 days. What Adrienne kind of came up with was sort of like your WHOOP goal. So like kind of like WHOOP, there it is. I don't know if she wants to go into it a little bit more in a sec, but I would say start off with what your goal is for these 75 days, what you want to accomplish. What you're already foreseeing is going to be your issue. Like if your issue is going to be like, child, I'm not going to wake up. Kind of, call yourself out, say it out loud, know that about yourself, early on, and then have a solution for that. If you're not someone that wakes up and is like, okay, I'm going to build for an hour every day, maybe don't set that as your goal. I'm just saying, let's be realistic. We can be realistic with ourselves and maybe set that hour for the afternoon or maybe set that hour for the evening. And so I would say Discord is going to be that community hub. The next step would also be registering for your first workshops. We have a couple of our first workshops already out right now, and they are filling up. Not to say that we have a cap or anything, but I'm just saying, like, definitely register for those workshops. Some of the workshops will have specific software licensees or accessees that you'll be able to get access to. And so the earlier you sign up, the better, because then we'll be able to allocate those accordingly. And so register for the workshops, subscribe to the event calendar to kind of be the first to know when more workshops drop, because we do have more workshops literally being published, I would say weekly. Those workshops are going to go all the way until February 9th. We'll also probably have some during the Ideathon that'll be probably more in line with business development, pitching, and management and marketing as well. So we'll have some more during that. But also throughout the year, we continue to have workshops outside of this programming as well. And so I would definitely highly recommend subscribing to our event calendar. Third, share on social media. Like I said, we build out loud out here. And so tag and CreateHER Fest in your posts. We will amplify you, you amplify us, win, 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 win. But anyway, using hashtag 75HER, but also hashtag CreateHER Fest is going to help a lot with our own visibility, but also yours as well. And then lastly, read the participant guide. I spent a lot of time on it. Many of you have received it in the email last night, I believe. If you haven't, just make sure you are formally registered. If a volunteer can just drop in the chat that 75HER link as well. If you're not formally registered for 75HER, I highly recommend doing so. So you do get access to the participant guide, but we'll also post it in the Discord as well. But highly, highly, highly recommend reading through that. It has a whole bunch of information about everything that we just mentioned today. A lot of the questions that you may have that will come up will be answered in that participant guide, and it is a living document, so it is updated constantly. So I would say, if you have a question, if it's not in the participant guide, 100% ask. Message me, add at me, mention me, whatever. But check the participant guide first, because I may have already answered it there. All right. So these are your next steps. I think these are pretty doable next steps to do right now, and I won't belabor any longer. I will say what's coming up next. We do have our CreateHER Fest Vision Board Party coming up January 11th. The link to register for that will be put up later today.
The Luma. Yep.
It'll be on Luma.
It'll be on Luma.
Then, it'll be on our Luma, the event calendar. We'll also start off with a couple of our initial workshops. We'll be making your confidence visible with Shini Yap Chan. And so this is going to be a great first workshop to kind of like get yourself in the framework of, how to talk about yourself, how to build authentic, visible leadership. And it's easy to think that leadership is just thinking about how to lead other people, but you also have to think about how to lead yourself as well. And so this is going to be a great workshop. You'll walk away with a really great framework in order to do so. And then we'll go into one of our more technical workshops. So deploying an AI agent using Vertex AI and Gemini. And again, do not think that you have to be a developer to take this workshop. For this particular workshop, you do not have to be a developer to take this workshop. AI agents can be used by anyone if you take this workshop. Okay, so that is what I'll be recommending for our beginning workshops there. And so going into our keynote, I've yapped a lot. I would love to welcome Angie Jones to the stage. I believe she's...
Hi, Angie.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy to have you here. I'll stop yapping, girl. I'll let you take it away.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So, hello, everyone. I want to share some insights over, the last couple of years, the way that we learn, the way that we build, the way that we ship software. This is shifted in real ways. And some of that is exciting, but some of it is like extremely uncomfortable if we're being honest with ourselves. So I want to talk about like what has changed and how you all can be a part of shaping what comes next. So let's go back. We don't even have to go back far. It feels like several decades, but let's just go back a couple of years. Software engineering looked really different. So if I think about just a couple of years ago, what the team looked like, it would plan, let's say, a sprint of work. And that plan would be for maybe 2, 3 meaty tasks per engineer. And this would take them about 2 weeks to develop, right? So you're looking at, let's say, 1 to 1.5 tasks a week. And that included working with product, working with project managers, working with testers and tech writers, maybe security and design, and all of these various functions needing to collaborate together. And every thought and decision was a human one. Every line of code was written by hand. Every variable, every condition, every loop was carefully thought out, and then we typed it, right? And this took time to get that right. And when we got it right, that felt incredible. And if I fast forward to 2026, I can't believe we're here already. It honestly looks like night and day if I compare what software development was, let's say, 3 years ago to right now. And while this happened, I guess you could say gradually, it's still like lightning fast for something to look night and day and 3 years like a total occupation, right? And that shift began with the introduction of AI coding assistants like GitHub Copilot. That was like another form of intelligence being added to your IDE, your workspace where you wrote code, right? This helped you complete your thoughts, those thoughts that you had to come up with on your own as you were writing code. Now you had this another form of intelligence sitting with you, right? And this was pretty cool, but I wouldn't say like it drastically moved the needle. Whether you use this or not, it still took relatively about the same amount of time to develop software. But 2025 was the year that changed everything, in my opinion. So this was the year of AI agents. And I'm so glad to see that you all have workshops on those. Definitely take advantage of those. To level set, I'm just going to talk about what agents are very briefly. So they go beyond your chat sessions and they actually do work on your behalf. So if we go back to like GitHub Copilot, for example, a couple of years ago when we were introducing this intelligence into our environments, now what agents do is also introduce muscle to go with that. So that totally changes the game. So now I don't even necessarily need AI sitting in my IDE helping me finish the next line of code. Now I could literally just give it the whole task, like from the product team, what's the requirement, and I can have an agent implement that end to end. So this was the OMG moment of generative AI. Like the other stuff was cool, like ChatGPT having a conversation that felt mind-blowing. This was the mind-blowing part where you now could get it to actually not just tell you how to do something, but do it on your behalf. This opened up entirely new scenarios because that intelligence was coupled with the muscle, and that doesn't necessarily even need to live in your code editor anymore. It can live anywhere. It can access anything that you allow it to. So what that means is that the entire workflow of how we develop software has changed. I want to give you an example of day in the life of my software engineers now. So we had a team who they said, what would happen? Actually, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to tell you about the reality of the entire software engineering organization, right? So everybody's not on board. There's many people who they're skeptical. I believe they're scared, if we're being very honest. Like, this stuff can do your job. So it's like, why would I want something else to do my job, right? And so they're a little resistant and a little hesitant. My job is to get all of our engineers at my company to not just use the AI, but use it effectively and efficiently. And we have about 4,000 engineers. So trying to level all of them up at the same time seemed a bit difficult to do, especially when you have people who don't necessarily want this. They did not elect to opt in this type of software engineering. But the honest reality is this is where we are. I promise you it's not hype. It's very real. And those who don't get on board are going to be left behind, right? So the way that I approached this was to form a cohort of about 50 of the engineers. And these are folks who are AI curious, who don't mind sticking with it. They realize that AI is not magic. They realize that it is powerful. And they also realize that unlike any tool that we've ever used in software engineering, AI is non-deterministic. So that gives us a totally different type of tool that is probably the most powerful tool that we've ever had in software engineering. But it's like, how do I work with this thing is the question. So the mindset of my AI champions is I don't know how I work with a thing. I'm going to explore, try some things out, see what works, and stick with it. That's a very different mindset than someone who tries it. It goes, oh, this doesn't work. Or I don't know, the code is crappy. They call it slop. AI, the code is AI slop. I don't want it. I don't want to use this. I can do better myself. It's slowing me down. Don't be of that mindset. And there's a lot of people you're going to hear and see them saying that. That's not the type of people you want to follow. So the type of people you want to be and you want to listen to and follow are the people who recognize, hey, got a new tool, we got a new way of working. I want to figure out how to do that. Okay. So the champions, we try all sorts of things. They put me in charge of this, y'all. I don't know why. There's no playbook for any of this. So it's like you pick somebody. It's not like you can say, oh, this person has 20 years of Gen AI experience. There is no 20 years of Gen AI experience. And so you just gotta try it out. There's no like criteria or like a resume I can give to say that I am qualified for this, but maybe it's because they know I'm not going to give up and I'm going to stick with it, right? And so anyway, I work with these engineers and each one of them work on a different team, a different code base. Now let me tell you, AI vibe coding something like a brand new project, much different experience than if you were to do this on a production code base that's huge. It's a mono repo with multiple projects. You have, dozens of other engineers that work on this system with you. Totally different game. So these champions, they explore. They see what is possible. They try it out. They then, when it doesn't work, they think about it and say, why doesn't it? And is there something I can do to get it to do what I want it to do? And then they keep poking until they find success. And so what their day in the life looks like now compared to software engineering of a couple of years ago. Still have the sprints for now. And we do the human thing of, okay, how many tasks can we fit in this sprint, which might last about 2 weeks, right? So you say, okay, these are the amount of tasks that we can do based on the engineers that are on the team. And then the sprint starts. What they have done is brought their agents, intelligence, this muscle, outside of their code editor and into team spaces like Jira, like Linear. And they're now assigning tickets to the agents. So the ticket says like, oh, make a new feature that does X, Y, and Z. They go, here, this one's for you, Goose. That's our AI agent we use. And Goose can implement that. And this is not limited to Goose. Claude Code can do it. Codex can do it. Gemini can do it. They implement this end to end. It goes into your code base. It learns like what's here. How does the code work? Where can I plug in this feature? And then it puts up a pull request in GitHub with the solution. And so this is taking minutes, maybe an hour is something really meaty to do. The first time a team did that, they ran out of work in the sprint. So if it's a 2-week sprint, before the end of week 1, they had already run out of all the work that they planned for the 2 weeks because the agent was picking up stuff and getting it done faster. They brought in more work into the sprint. It ate that up too. And so now we're shipping faster. There's a higher velocity here, right? And we are quite literally working faster than humanly possible. The agents, the intelligence, the muscle, they're with us now in all of our workspaces. Even in Slack, there was a conversation where one engineer wrote in Slack, I think there's a bug. And he described the bug. Developer 2 came in and said, I hadn't noticed, but yeah, that doesn't sound right. Developer 3 came in and tagged Goose in Slack in that conversation and said, is this a bug? Goose said, yeah, sure is. Line numbers, this, showed the code snippet where the bug was. They said, hey, Goose, offer us maybe 3 possible solutions to this. Goose said, all right. Offer 3 solutions with the implementation. Showed it to them right there in Slack. Developer 1 goes, yeah, I like option number 1. Developer 2 goes, yeah, me too. Developer 3 says, Goose, implement option 1. Goose said, here's your pull request with the link to the fix. This happened in 5 minutes, right? There was no Jira, no putting up tickets, no opening bugs and all of that. This is now a conversation where software engineering is happening without us ever needing to even open our code editor. And guess what? This is not limited to one agent. You can use as many of these agents as you want. You can use them in parallel. So this exponentially increases the speed at which software is being developed. And because of the drastic difference between how software development looks now compared to even just 1 year ago, it's easy, and I'd say it's even natural for someone to feel behind, right? If it like, you'll go on Twitter, you'll see people say, if you aren't commanding 3 to 5 agents a day, then you're not gonna make it, right? But it's not too late. I don't want you to believe that hype. In fact, right now is the perfect time to jump in, because I'm going to share a little secret. We're all still figuring this stuff out together. Like I said, anybody can have a job who's willing to do the job. I didn't know how to do this job, but I was willing, and so if you're willing, you can jump in there. There's not a handbook for it. I want to be very honest with you. I don't want to make it sound like it's easy. We as an industry are actively trialing and error to understand how these LLMs work and behave, where they fall down, how we can engineer our way to optimal results given what we learn. So if you are someone who wants to shape the future of software development, I promise you right now is the time. I'm so glad that you all are here, that you have workshops lined up, hackathons. Consume all of this information. But consume it. You have to put your hands on it. Reading about it is not enough. In fact, it sounds like fiction. If you just read, if you just listen, you need to put your hands on it to really appreciate what's going on, right? And be forewarned, you're going to run into issues where Googling is not going to have the answer. There's not on Stack Overflow. The challenges that we're seeing are challenges that we've never had to face before, right? These are opening up new challenges to solve. But what it takes is curiosity and determination. And if you couple those two things together, your flow of how you discover information changes, right? You don't need to ask people, you don't need to Google, you don't need to read books. All the info is kind of locked into the LLMs. And when you give them access to additional information like your code base or your docs from your team or anything like that, now they really can get you whatever answer you need in a matter of minutes. So discovery becomes more like a conversation. Design, the constraints are pretty much out the door. You're now asking what's possible. What are all the possibilities, the possible ways that I can solve a problem? In fact, given a specific app or feature that you wanted to develop, you could make 3 iterations of that thing probably in a day and pick the best one. You know what I mean? So that's the rate at which we are moving now. And then for delivering, your role shifts. I saw someone say multi-agent orchestrator. That's exactly right. Your role is shifting. You're still building, but you're also basically directing builders, if that makes sense. So you're setting direction, you are reviewing outcomes, you're deciding like what's going to get merged, what you're going to throw away, and you still own the results. We don't get to blame AI for any of the mistakes. Like you are the one controlling this, right? And you're no longer constrained by your one set of hands, right? Or your one train of thought at a time. And so it's easy to feel behind giving like this landscape. So, and you hear people talking on LinkedIn or Twitter about how they're spinning up all of these agents and they're automating entire workflow. They're shipping stuff in days that used to take a year, you know? So it's, you know, it's natural to wonder, like, did I miss my window? But you did not. The truth is that we're still early in this. We're all still figuring this out. There is no handbook. No one has it all figured out. So what we're doing is we're experimenting. We're not afraid to fail. If it fails, what's the lesson I can learn from that? What can I tweak? Right? And then share what you learn. That's going to be the differentiator. Share what you learn. We're all figuring this out together. And the only way we're going to move forward as an industry is to kind of say, hey, this was something I tried. And then someone else can build upon that, right? You can build upon their experiments. Okay. So discover by exploring what's possible. Design by getting clear about the intent and what you want to build, and deliver by learning how to orchestrate work in this new reality. And that's how the future of tech is built. Any questions I can answer?
I see one
Hi,
hand
Angie.
up.
Yeah,
There we
hi.
go, Hafsa.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hi, Angie. Very insightful. Thank you for the talk. I had a few questions. So my background is in software development, and I have recently transitioned or trying to transition into product design. And from what I've been hearing from the industry is that the boundaries of the roles are getting merged because of this change that's been happening. The designers are required or expected to write the PRDs. The developers are expected to somehow know the in and outs of designs. Do you see that happening, that somehow, like we saw previously, that UI and UX was merged into product design and they became as one? The backend and front-end engineers became full-stack developers. Do you see that happening, that somebody like a PM is supposed to know design as well as the development, and the role becomes something like a builder of sorts in the future? And that's number one. And number two, keeping that in mind, would it be a good idea to somehow do the product development or product designing end to end for this hackathon?
Okay. Yes, I do see that happening. The lines are definitely getting blurred, and handoffs are becoming less of a thing, right? When you're moving at the speed at which we're moving now, there is no time. There is no time for a dedicated phase for any of it, right? There's no like dedicated design phase and then we move into development sort of thing. It's idea to execution. And that in the beginning, I talked about what software development looked like and how you work with all these different teams, right? It's not like that anymore. Like our designers now with these tools in their hands can even implement the thing that they have designed or thought about designing, right? So if you already have a PRD, why do you need another human who, let's say the engineer, to bring your PRD to life when you have agents at your disposal? So that's what's happening. People have an idea, and while they don't necessarily have the, I guess, the engineering skill for it to maybe be production ready, what they are doing is building prototypes. And so it's like, this is exactly my idea and how I want it to look and how I want the product to behave. I've already like mapped it out. Now you all take this and harden it, right? Make it secure, make it scalable, make it production ready. But to stop at the PRD, I think is a thing of the past, right? That's what would be expected in the older model of software delivery. Whereas now, you should be able to bring the idea to life, even if that's not the final version that gets shipped. Does that make sense?
Yes, it definitely makes sense. And this is something that I've been experimenting on my own with tools like Replit or AI Studio or Lovable or all of the things. But yeah, the constraint comes into a point when it has to become scalable.
That's right.
Yeah, so or keeping up with the initial idea or ideation, which may require a team or sorts. So yeah, wanted to get your guidance on taking it end to end, if that's a good idea or not.
It is a good idea. I definitely think you should challenge yourself in doing that. And I'll give you a little tip. So when we talk about using multiple agents, all of these agents should come from a different perspective. So I did a workshop at MIT where we did multiple, no, it was Berkeley, I'm sorry. We did a workshop with multiple agents and like maybe 6 or 7 agents that built an app in 1 hour. And each one of those agents were responsible, not just for a different part of the feature, but a totally different perspective in the software delivery. So we had someone who is the designer, an agent that's the project manager, an agent that's the architect, an agent that's developing the front end, another one developing the back end, an agent that's writing the documentation, and an agent that's writing the tests, right? And so when you bring all of these various perspectives together, they won't behave exactly the same as each other. Now they are in a different mode. So even you as product person, if you wanted to say, okay, I can get an agent to make the prototype or the MVP, but I don't really know about scaling. Make an agent that understands scaling. And it's prompting. It's not that you need to be a prompt whiz. Sometimes I don't know how to craft the perfect prompt. So what I do is I talk to the AI and say, listen, this is what I want you to do. I know I'm not saying all the right words. So before you start trying to do anything, let's just get the plan together and ask me any questions you need to ask me. But I want to use this product. I want to have hundreds of thousands of users. I want to put it on the app store, so it needs to be secure. Just start saying like those sorts of things and say, can you craft the prompt so that I can ask it properly, right? And then from there you can continue on. And so if you're even able to express your scenario, maybe you don't know what it takes to get it there, but you know how you want to use you can even ask those sorts of questions for it to fill in the blanks.
Thank you, Angie. That's amazing. Very insightful. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, but I know we're about like 11 minutes over time. I see Andrea has her hands up. I'd say let's leave it as one more, or that last question. And then any other questions, feel free to shoot them y'all in Discord or email me, and I'll try to get answers from Angie if I can, just based on availability. But also, that's what the Discord is for. I know we have a lot of really great, insightful people within our community, and so anybody can answer these questions as well. But Andrea, I know your hand up was for a while, so we'll take that as the last question, and we'll wrap for the day.
Okay, thank you for letting me ask my question, and thank you for the presentation, Ms. Jones. My question was, with the advancement of AI agents completing like the coding tasks fairly quickly, how can like entry-level software engineers or like tech opportunists show like their skill and advancement more thoroughly and usefully in the job search?
I want to tell you all, something is really shifting right now. Like a couple of years ago, you couldn't break into this space. Like we just didn't want junior people, honestly. We saw the world shifting. We're like, oh, it's getting so complex. That's changed in 2025, and I expect it to change even more in 2026. This year, I actually opened up roles for AI native junior talent, and I did not care about anything, any of your credentials. I didn't even ask for a resume on the application. I don't care if you worked anywhere before. I don't care if you went to school. Do you know how to use these agents to build? I want to talk to you, right? And multiple companies are starting to open up these sorts of entry-level roles and internships for people who use it. And I'll tell you why. Because software development is changing so vastly, the people that we have that are doing it are stuck in old mindsets, and some of them are resistant. So if you have someone who might not have their software engineering skill, but they know how to get Claude Code to build some apps, I would probably rather that person than this person, you know? And so we're starting to see more companies do that now. How you can make yourself marketable is by building. So no one cares if you can like recite how LLMs work and all of that. Like, okay, impressive. Can you use Claude Code, Goose, Gemini, Codex, any of them to like build software? Show me. So what you want to do is build, put everything on your GitHub. Build GitHub. And don't be afraid. You know, I think at a certain point, like you were a little shy to say you used AI to code it. Don't be shy now. Now that's actually works in your favor. Like, oh yeah, I know I use AI to like build stuff. You know, so that's how you make yourself marketable. So anything you build and CreateHER Fest, I really encourage you to add that to your GitHub. If you want, make a LinkedIn post about it. Make a couple of posts about what you're doing and what you're learning. Maybe some blog posts. You can go on Dev2 if you don't have a website yet. But publish your work, speak about your work so that people know you exist, right? And you're more likely to have opportunities come to you when you do that.
Amazing. Thanks so much for that, Angie. Andrea, hopefully that answered your question. Let me know.
It did. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Excellent. Awesome. All right. Well, I mean, we're definitely way over time, but I want to say thank you so much, Angie, for joining us and keynoting. Honestly, at the end of the day, build, build, build. And so we hope to impart that with everyone at CreateHER Fest and for 75 Her Like I said earlier, all of the workshops that we're doing, you're walking away having built something or having a framework to go on and do something with that. And so I highly recommend everyone, you don't have to attend every workshop, but for the ones that feel very pertinent to you, I highly recommend go ahead and RSVP for those. And then also for any ones that you miss, like we have our YouTube channel, and that's where we'll host the recordings. We'll have the recording of this as well. But for any recordings that you miss, feel free to rewatch them. We'll also host some watch parties as well for probably the more technical ones. If you want to go over those together, we definitely can. And if you're not in the Discord, like I said, definitely join. We'll keep the conversation going there as well. And I so look forward to everything that you all are going to build. I'm excited about, I hope you all participate in the hackathon phase. I'm excited about what you all build, because at the end of the day, the proof is quite literally in the product. And so have a great rest of your day, everyone. Have a great happy Tuesday. Welcome to day 1 of 75 Her. Day 1 down. You committed, you did it, you showed up, and I'm super proud of you, and I'm super excited. And I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thank you, everyone.